Good morning, legends. Hope you're well. Let's try this again. Good morning, legends. Hope everybody is well. So on this beautiful Monday morning, I have lots to share with you because it's been an amazingly inspiring weekend, and I wanted to make sure that you got the benefit of this. So if you're here, if you're joining me live, let me know that you're there. It would be wonderful. And if you're joining me later on, that's fine. Let me know what you thought of our espresso shot. All right, guys. So here's the first thing I actually wanted to share with you today. First of all, I want to know when you come to these live sessions with me, why do you show up? Why would you say you're here? Why are you attending an espresso shot? And what are you hoping to get from your attendance to the espresso shot? So we've got one person who's just joined us now. Beautiful. Lovely to have you with us. Hello. It's very, very cozy. And now we've got 4 people who are on the line. Lovely, lovely. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Isabella. Lovely to have everybody here. So the first thing I'd like everyone to do is to take a moment and think, why are we here? Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, Ian. So why are we here? Why do you come to those espresso shots? What do you want to get out of being here? If you want to write it down, that would be wonderful. And then why is it that we need to be here on a Monday morning? What do you think is crucial in being here? What are you getting? Right? So take a moment, write down in the comment box. Look forward to reading your comments. All right, and now I'll actually start sharing the content of today. So yeah, motivation, definitely. So in today's conversation, what I want to share with you is what I took out of 4 conversations I had yesterday with legends, because in our walk and talk in Port Melbourne yesterday morning, there were 3 legends who joined me. The first one was Carolyn-I'm-not-a-coach-King. So Carolyn-I'm-not-a-coach-King was here with me yesterday. Then there was Anne, the property mogul with a heart of gold, who wants to share her business planning skills. And then there was Anita, the really, really happy coach. And then later on in the spa, there was, I've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, sitting on the fence, Cara, the personal trainer. So what I took away, and let's start with Cara, because I think that's the person who was the most fragile in her commitment to her business. Yeah. So thanks guys for sharing what you've got. I love it. I can see it today, and I can actually go and like it as I see it. Boom, here we are. Good morning, Christina. All right, cool. So with Cara yesterday, who's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, there was just so much in the conversation. So let me try and recap so that you get the context of it. So first of all, Cara's a millennial. As you've heard me say before, and I got that from Alice Hammerell, who is an amazing NLP professional and trainer. And Alice was explaining how the baby boomers' biggest challenge is to start something new because they're used to a certain way. So change management was a big thing for the baby boomers because it's hard for them to change. So then the generation, the X generation, which is my generation, for us, it's hard to maintain something because we get caught up in being busy. Busy is our buzzword, and we're so busy with stuff that we start something and we struggle to maintain it. Like, for example, we get a gym membership and we go once or twice and then we keep paying for it, but we don't enjoy the benefits of it. But in the millennials generation, and that's a generalization, right? So it's not for everybody, but as a generalization, millennials have challenges in finishing something that they start. Okay, so what does that mean specifically for Cara? And I know Cara very well because she's my stepdaughter, right? And so I've watched her career journey over the past 7 years, and she had three things going on at some point. Like, she was doing a hairdressing internship. Then she's always had retail in the background as her fallback plan. And for the last few years, she's been really, really passionate about fitness. And so she's become a qualified personal trainer. And so the reason why she's with us in the Legends is to become a successfully paid personal trainer, not necessarily just in the context of gyms. She wants to have her own business that she can run from anywhere in the world, like most of us want. And that's the reason why we want to understand how this online thing works, so that we can have that freedom. And so yesterday, Cara was pretty down. She was actually thinking about almost moving out of personal training because she's not making enough money right now, and looking into a completely different career. And that kind of got me like on the back foot, because I'm thinking she's put in a lot of effort, like a lot of you guys have, in becoming qualified in a specific type of field, expertise, modality. And she's almost ready to give it all up just because she's not getting the success she wanted to get fast enough. Now, what I shared with Cara was my personal story of how hard my first business was. And let me just see what time it is, because I really want to keep it to the 30 minutes this morning. So I will take 2 minutes and just do a quick recap, because I was explaining to Cara, you have to stick with something long enough to give yourself the chance to be successful. Yeah, it has to be something that you do for a long time or a good time in order to get the results. And so when I started in financial planning, it was hell, right? I had to convert from being seriously an impersonation of a Spice Girl. Remember, that was in the 90s. So no word of a lie. I showed up in the office for my meeting with everybody the first time with platform heels and white shiny leather, white tights and a red striped shirt, and my hair all, Spice Girl like, because I was in my 20s, it was the 90s, and that's who I was. And then a lovely lady took me aside and explained to me that if I wanted to be taken seriously in business, especially in the financial world, I had to dress a certain way. And she took me to go shopping and helped me get my very first, I know it's hilarious, just the image of me as a Spice Girl, right? So she took me shopping for my very first suit. And back then, my first year I made $11,000, and I had to have 3 flatmates in my 3-bedroom house or flat to share the cost of the rent, because I didn't have enough money. I barely had enough money to feed myself, and I ate so much spaghetti with butter that year because that's all I could actually afford. And you know what? It was painful. It was a complete shock to my system, because I was a qualified nurse starting in financial planning as a business as my main income. Crazy stuff, right? So moral of the story is, I gave it everything I had. It was hard. I cried a lot. I was super insecure, never knew if I was going to have enough money to pay for my little car, to pay for my apartment, to pay for my food, let alone having a life. I didn't have a life, right? I had a business, and I had a dream, a massive dream. And so for the first year, it was all pain, no pleasure, but a lot of gain. And then the second year, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth year, I performed as an individual and then as part of a team, my team, in the top 1% out of 140,000 representatives in North America. And I became known as the young woman under 30 who was having that success. And quite honestly, I have been riding that success wave since then. So the efforts I put in my 20s in becoming the best or one of the best in my field, I've been using that expertise and that those specific skills to monetize since then, right? So my message to Cara was, pick something that you are absolutely passionate about, because you have to be passionate about that. Put in 10,000 hours of hard work, doing what's right to be doing, not fluffing, right? So you don't need a website when you start. You don't need, if you're just online, you don't need business cards. Who are you going to give your business cards to, right? So that all that stuff that makes us waste time, precious time. Let's focus on first deciding that we're going to make this work. So that's the first thing Cara needs to do. Is she going to make it work? It's a decision she needs to take. Then she needs to show up in the Legends and ask for help. She needs to show up on the live calls. Yeah, and then she needs to take daily action in order to make sure that she will earn, first and foremost, $1,000 a week, so that she can stop thinking about other options to save her ass because she's stressing over how much money she doesn't have. So if she's dedicated because she's decided, she shows up, she does the work, I'm not going to say I guarantee the result, but I can tell you it is the best way to ensure her success. And so my message to Cara this morning, hopefully she watches this at some point, is that, first of all, I believe in you as I believe in all of the legends who show up. I believe in hard work. I believe in being unfuckwittable. I believe in that. If you're unfuckwittable, nothing is going to make you change your mind. Once you've made your decision, you run with it. I think you should go after your dreams. I think you should make it happen because no one else will make it happen for you. So that's my message for Cara. All right. Now, if you could take a second, everybody, and go in the comments box and tell me, was that useful for you? Or is there anyone in your life that you could deliver a message that resembles this, that it would maybe give them a hand and get them focused on what they should be doing, believing in themselves, continuing, putting in the effort, you know, and don't expect success instantly. It's just not something that happens. We have to put in the effort, right? And I could tell you so many stories of and you guys have kids, some of you have 3 kids, we know there's this 3-kid club. So if you can tell your kids that they have to invest time and effort in something to reap the rewards, and when they're ready to quit, like there's a friend of mine, she's got a puppy, that they've had the puppy for 2 weeks, and the kids decided it's too hard. I almost freaked out when they told me that over the weekend, because the mom was looking for a place for the puppy to live, and I thought, that's bullshit. What message are you sending your child? 2 weeks, you haven't even tried. Come on, right? Anyway, and it's a life. When you take on a life, as far as I'm concerned, you're responsible for them. Anyway, all right, so there you go. So that was the first person. 3 more to go. The second person was Carolyn, who's on the call today. So I'm really grateful that she's here, because she'll pull me back right in if I'm sharing something that's not entirely accurate. So Carolyn, yesterday, in the first few minutes that we walked side by side together, she said several times, I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. You know what? At some point, I started believing that she's not a coach. So her story might resonate with a few legends, because not everybody is a life coach. Now, could you go in the bottom section and in the comments and tell me, are you a qualified life coach, like ICF recognized and all that? Or do you have a specialty and an expertise or 10,000 hours in something different? Yeah, so go in the comment box and let us know. And if you're watching this on the replay, do go in the comment box and let us know what your expertise is, or your 10,000 hours of expertise is in, or what you're not qualified in, or what you are qualified in, just so that we know. Because yeah, there you go. So we've got a few people qualified. There you go. Yep. Funnily enough, there you go. Carolyn is a kinesiologist. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of accredited life coaches, but Carolyn, I guarantee you, there's Joanne Fairbrother, who is a weight loss expert. There are other people who've got other specialties. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, all right. Okay. So my point was, in the legends, there are heaps of coaches because, when Mark and I were together, we really specifically targeted life coaches because that's what we wanted to, the people that we wanted to serve. But we have Kate Fitz, who's a personal trainer, Joanne, who's a weight loss expert. So not everybody has life coaching qualifications and expertise, okay? And they are still successful with the methodology. So what I want to share with you, Carolyn, and what stood out for me in the conversation yesterday was, first of all, you need to pick a lane, okay? Because in the conversation, and I think she really got that really, really clear for her, right? Like, she is a kinesiologist. She also spoke to me about brain gym, and she also talked to me about a number of other modalities, and one of them was Reiki. And then meditation, and so she's got a number of tools in her toolbox, right? As we all have. But if I ask you, what's my specialty? In your words, you're going to say something like, Nat's a sales specialist. She's a sales expert. She's a sales coach, a sales mentor, business mentor, something like that, right? So who I am to you is 100% clear. You show up here so that I can teach you how to make money, right? That's the whole point of this relationship. Heaps more. You've discovered by scratching the surface that I can do a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, all of us can do several things. We just have to pick a lane to make ourselves known as the expert in that field and then run with it. Great example that I shared with Carolyn yesterday was Simon Sinek. This guy has made a whole career on one word. But if you dig, and if you go on YouTube or on his websites, or if you read his books, like, he can talk about way more than just one word, like, and the word being why, right? So the guy has a lot to say. His depth of knowledge and expertise is really good. It's amazing. But he has become known as the 1-inch expert on why, but miles deep. Okay, so my point here is, Carolyn's challenge yesterday was, I'm not a coach, so how do I actually put myself out there? You use the same posts we use, but you don't put coach in it, you put the words you want to test. So will people respond to you as a kinesiologist? Will people respond to you as a meditation expert? Will people respond to you as a Reiki expert? I don't know. But the way that you decide how you pick a lane, it's a combination of two factors. First, and guys, if you want to do that, it's a great way to decide your lane if you haven't picked it yet. You make a list of all your passions and everything that you've achieved mastery in, right? For me, mastery is 10,000 hours. That's mastery. You might not be at mastery yet. You might be on your way to mastery because the passion is so strong that you know that this is what you want to do. So first, make a list of all your passions and then what you've achieved mastery in, and then mix that and see what comes out. So that's the first one. Second one, go to market. Post. See what people respond to, why they're attracted to you, right? And once you've got number one nailed, like, these are my passions, this is my 10,000 hour expertise, so therefore this is the one thing I want to be known for, that's the label I want to put on my forehead, then go to market with your label and see what the market says. Are they coming to you for that? Or are they ignoring you for that? Do we need a different way of talking about it to hook people in? Yeah, because if I go out there and I tell people, come to me, I'll teach you how to do sales, big fat chance that'll be the biggest repellent of all, especially in the life coaching world, because people hate the word sales because of everything that is associated with sales. So if I go to market, I'm going to pitch the benefit or the outcome, right? So 0 to 5K per week. That's how I positioned my expertise. So instead of saying, come here, I'll teach you how to make sales, I'm explaining to people, this is where you start at 0 or thereabouts. If you want to hire me as your mentor, I'll teach you how to make $5,000, right? So going back to our elevator pitch, so the people I serve are life coaches. They usually are at the very beginning of their journey. I teach them stuff, and then they make money, right? So if I'm going to Carolyn's kinesiology, I help people that have, let's say, back pain, and when they come to me, I do stuff, which is kinesiology, and when I'm done with them, they're feeling lubricated. Is that the word you were using yesterday, Carolyn? All right, so there you go. So challenge was to pick a lane, and then the solution is to find what makes you happy and what makes you feel like you're going to make a difference and what you want to be known as. So go in the comment box and tell me, did you get anything out of the conversation I had with Carolyn yesterday? Do you have any questions for myself and for Carolyn about the challenge that she had? Or is that something that you might see applies to another legend that you might want to tag in this post because you've had conversations with them and that's the kind of challenge they had. They didn't really know, out of all their expertise, out of all their passions, how to actually decide where they were going to go. All right, so give me something in the comments so that I know that we've got some value out of this section, or a feedback or anything, a thought. Waiting for you guys. I know we've got 8 people on the line this morning. It's really cool that you're here. Okay, my third person yesterday in the walk, the third person that I spent some time with yesterday who was in the walk is Anne, the busy businesswoman. So Anne Ryan, thank you ladies, thank you. So Anne Ryan, she's got a dilemma that I believe is something that a lot of you may have experienced. So there you go, lovely. Yeah. So Anne is a woman, she is a wife, a mother, a director in a thriving business, a property investor, passionate business planning coach. And as I got to know her more and more, because it's the second time I see her in person, there are so many other facets to her, right? So she's got heaps of interests, hobbies, things that she loves to do and talk about. And so one of her challenges is time. And I say that's easily sorted because she's torn between all the roles she has to perform in the existing business, the property portfolio and all that. So she's torn with all the options that she has to make money and contribute. But the easiest way to sort out where you should invest your time, if you want to live in alignment, is to determine what your values are. Yeah, because once you know clearly what your values are, and you clear all the crap that has kept you from living in alignment with your values, once you know what your values are and you decide to live in alignment with those values, then choices are a lot simpler to make. Right? So that's my first recommendation to her first challenge, which was, where do I invest my time? Yeah, because I have a limited amount of it and I have so many great options because she's good at several things and she's enjoying several things. So how do you decide where you put your time? Find out what your deep values are and decide to live in alignment with your values. The second challenge that Anne is experiencing is actually Anne. And that's funny, I think, because we've all been there. Yeah. And we are the one thing that gets in our way the most, I believe. And so here's how Anne is kind of a little bit in her way at the moment. And I've heard that before. And it was great that I had an example to share with her because I reckon she got what I meant. So Anne has sorted out her signature system. It's 5 Ps and it's beautiful. It's really clear and it's strong. I love it. And that's going to give her the context to her business planning coaching business. But then the challenge is, instead of going to market to see what the market is going to say and then build a program that's going to resonate with the market, what she thinks she needs to do right now, because of her limited time, is to build a program and have most of it built before she goes to market, because she fears that if she sells something before it's built, she won't have enough time to build it once it's sold. Whew. Did you follow me? Right? So here's what I've seen that turns into a nightmare of a waste of time. And I've shared that with you before. Met a guy a few years back who had spent 2 years developing this amazing entrepreneur course. He had covered everything. Seriously, if that course ever went to market, it was the most comprehensive I'd ever seen. He had thought about everything that a new entrepreneur in any field could ever need. Now, the problem with that is while he was thinking and planning and organizing and developing content, the entourage launched. And they made millions because they're in the market. When they started, they had one product, one course, one thing that Jack DeLoza was promoting everywhere. And then his girlfriend introduced him to Richard Branson, and that propelled his career, because in Australia at the time, he was one of the first people who actually had a picture of him on Necker Island with Richard Branson, but that's because of his ex-girlfriend, right? Because she had a connection. So my point to you is, while this guy that I met a few years ago was thinking, someone else was doing. What is the difference between Jack DeLoza and that guy I even forget the name of, is that Jack DeLoza got out there, sold an idea based on what he thought the market would want. Then the market showed up. Then he developed a program and ran with it. And then he built other programs and built the entourage to what it is right now, a registered training organization and all the jazz that comes with it. So in my conversation with Anne yesterday, my recommendation was stuff that. Do not develop a super sexy program before you get the go-ahead by the market. So always go to market, sell your group coaching, sell your group program, sell first with a later start date. And then give yourself the time, make it a priority to develop enough content that when you have your clients in the program, let's say an online program, you're at least 3-4 weeks ahead of them. And it gives you that time as a buffer to develop the content that they'll need to get to in 4, 5, 6 weeks, right? Now, give me a like, a love, a something, a reaction if this makes sense to you commercially, to first go and get people who will willingly give you money, who are interested in giving you money, before you invest time in developing something that might never get sold. Yeah? Makes sense? Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic. So that was a huge takeaway, I reckon, for Anne yesterday, because she started seeing that her need for that certainty or that security was actually potentially getting in her way of making the right business decision. So love your reactions. I love that you guys think it makes sense. And you know what? If you didn't think it made sense, I'd want to know why. Because if there's something that you have as a belief and it gets in your way for your business, I want to know so I can help you to free yourself from that belief. Yeah, because I'll just, before I get into, 8:59. All right, so let me know if it's okay, another 10 minutes and then we move on. But so basically, it was my story. My first online course was a financial planning online course. And all I had were 2 weeks ahead of my students, and I sold it, and then I only had 3 students, and it just lit up a fire under my bottom, because it made everything real to start with, because people had paid me money to have access, and then it gave me a motivation, it gave me a time frame to make sure that I was always going to be ahead of them. And to pump out content that was relevant. And the more interaction I got with them in my live or in face-to-face, because they were coming in my home, it helped me decide as well, what more could I put in that, or how else could I explain something? So it actually enriched the content of my course by having that interaction with real people. Oh, and there's something else I want to tell you that I told Anne, which I thought was so cool, because it's going to cater for her need for certainty and her time poor situation. My mentor, Joel Bauer, he's just built, and continues to build 52 weeks of content, because the man has so much to give. And it's just too much if you're asking me. But anyway, when you pay for your annual membership with him, you get access to his whole brain. So what he's done, because he's not a process-driven man like I am, I think he's dyslexic, and I think, he thinks differently to me, right? His brain works differently. So what he's done is he's got a weekly live session with all of us as his students, and he's got topics that he discusses. So he's got, let's say, 30 to 45 minutes where he shares content on a specific topic that he's selected. So I'm sure that his office manager, who's a brilliant woman, has got him to download his brain into at least topics. So he most likely has 52 topics written down, and he's taking one per week, and she organizes them in themes. She's brilliant, good for her and good for him. And so every week he records himself live, sharing information on one topic. He's got a few slides, he's giving us examples, showing us videos, and then there's a Q&A section. And so instead of pre-recording stuff like I did, he's using the live format as his course producing technique. And so it's amazing, because for us who are there as the recording happens, we feel that like we're the lucky ones. Yeah. So instead of he called that his beta group, because we're the first ones going through the program like in that form. But we feel special because we're there live with him, and we know that everybody else who buys after us will only have the replays. And so that's another way to produce an online course and online content. You don't have to do it for 52 weeks. It could be that you have 8 weeks of stuff or 12 weeks of stuff. And instead of putting the pressure on your shoulder that you have to have it done before your people get in the program, you produce it as you go. All right, so tell me what you think. Do you think it's a great alternative for time poor people? Would that appease your mind if you were to consider to do something in that format? Would that serve you? Is that an option that you would want to consider? Thumbs up, hearts. Give me what you think. Yeah. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. All right, beautiful. Yeah, it's an option. Yeah. So when you go through the Create a Product module with me, as long as you understand how to structure your message so that people have a chance to learn, and that you're really touching people's heads, their hearts, you're getting them to do stuff, and then you're giving them an action plan. As long as you've got that, then it's amazing, right? Because it sorts out all the challenge of, all right, I've got to have 50 million slides with beautiful pictures. If you don't have the time, you don't have the time. That's it. All right. Fourth legend is living the dream, Anita Ranruyan. So Anita, yesterday, she always makes me smile, right? Because in the last year and a half, she's gone from, I'm not too sure I can actually ever be a coach and make enough money to feed myself, because I can't rely on anybody else. She's single. She lives in an apartment that she owns. She now has a beautiful cat. And so her situation is she relies on her, right? And so her concern was genuine. Like, if I don't make enough money to feed myself, then I can't quit my job, because no one else is going to feed me or pay for my home. And so to hear that not only is she making plenty of money, like $7,500 a week, she's making plenty. She sold a 24-week. It's going to be delivered over a year, but it's 24-session package for $5,000 recently, paid all up front. So she's got the hang of what we teach here in the Legends. She's mastered it to a point where she was telling me yesterday, because I asked her, so do you feel safe? Do you feel reassured? Well, she said, I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. So she's at a point where in her whole being, she knows that she's got this. Yeah. And so that was the first thing that stood out for me in the conversation with Anita. And again, going back on the message I shared initially, she stuck with it, right? And she did the hard work, and she did the posting, the auditions, the second calls, so that she could understand, like, what do I need to say to people? What do they tell me? What are their objections? Yeah, because I know that some Legends are wanting to have other people do their auditions, but if you haven't been in the trenches, you have no idea what your trainees are going to face as potential objections, or you won't know what words they should use, the lingo, the jargon that sticks to people, right? That really talks to their heart, that drags them in, that draws them in. Yeah. So it's important to do it yourself first. And once you've done it, and again, probably not 10,000 hours of auditions, but 100 hours of auditions, successful auditions, then you can move on to, giving it to someone else to do. But then the second thing that came out of her conversation, which is something that I really believe in, is the need to continually develop new skills, or the need to continually dig deeper into our toolbox and get some of the techniques, tools that we've learned and might not have applied just yet, and put them in practice. She was telling me of two women, one who's been doing personal development stuff for 18 years and hadn't been able to get out of this challenging space in her mind because she was victim of sexual abuse, right? And in a 2-hour session where Anita applied a specific technique that she learned from her coach mentor, the woman came out and was totally freed from that experience, right? So it's 2 hours with Anita as her first paid session, and 18 years of self-personal development didn't do it. Yeah, so that's how powerful some of your modalities are. I loved it. I loved the story. And the second person was a similar type of story, something deeply, deeply anchored, and that got removed and got released. And I just thought it was really moving. It was really moving because if Anita had given up a year ago on her dream of becoming a full-time life coach, behavioral specialist, then that would have never happened. And the third lesson that I want you to get out of Anita's story is you all know that she's putting herself out there as a dance confidence coach. These two women that she helped last week, it wasn't about dance confidence. It was about using her life coaching skills, her broad life coaching skills, because she could serve. And so I don't remember exactly what her post says, but it drew these women in. And then she did what she had to do to serve them. So she's out there with her message. People resonate with her message, with how she's branded herself 1 inch wide, but she can now go miles deep because she has the competencies and the skills. All right. So people will come to you. They will resonate with you, who you are, for various reasons. Like I was telling Carolyn yesterday, we could put ourselves out there with the exact same post, with the exact same message to the exact same audience. Because you're blonde and I'm brunette, we'll get different people show up. Or because I have a French accent and you have an Aussie accent, we'll get different people show up, right? So there's a whole number of reasons why people show up for one person and not for another. And again, I believe that for every leader who's ready to put themselves out there, there are at least 10,000 people just waiting for that specific person to stand up so that they can follow that person, right? So decide who you want to be, decide what your message is, what your 1 inch wide is, and then go for it. Right, so I want feedback. before we talk about money, because I'll just put it in the post. I don't need to keep you on the line to talk about money. I want you to tell me, what did you get out of today? All right, so write down, give me hearts, likes, give me what you think I deserve. Give me a rating out of 10. Ian, go for your 9 if you feel like it's a 9 or a 7, whatever. So people, tell me what you think. What did you get out of today? So that's my first question. What did you get out of being here with me on the Espresso Shot? And then give me a rating. How was that call? How was this Espresso Shot? Out of 10. 1 being, Nat, you served me cold coffee, yuck. 10 being, it was beautiful temperature, exactly what I needed to kickstart my Monday morning, and I loved it. So looking forward to see your ratings. And after that, what I'll do is, once the video is all ready, I'll put some notes on the notes I had for the topics that we discussed, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions you may have during the day. Just let me know what I can do for you. I am spending a bit of time in the group today. I'm going to go and review all your questions from last week, because last week was a very intense week with other responsibilities. So I'll spend a bit of time in there today. And after that, the next thing is next week. I might not be able to do an espresso shot because I'll be at the airport. My man is taking me on holidays. We're going to Bali for 10 days. And because as you guys know, I need a holiday. I need to recharge and refresh so that I can come back and be really, really of service. But I'll try, so I'll let you know how I go when I'm at the airport. If I can make the espresso shot, I will. If I can't make it, that's all right. I'll do one while I'm in the pool in Bali the following week. All right, guys, so it's been a pleasure, as always, to be with you. I love your feedback. I love your participation. Love serving you. Every opportunity you give me to serve you, it just makes me feel more alive. So thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow in the live Q&A at 9 a.m. Have a great week.